very difficult. This is the most important bill in my lifetime. And my granddaughter will pay for this bill in its present form, whatever form that is, in terms of H.R. 3200. I have three very important concerns that I think are shared. One is, Obama talks about $600 billion. The Congressional Budget Office talks about $1.1 trillion. I have spent 40 years in government, and I've never seen a program come in at the right price and stay at that price. Secondly, although that bill says nothing about abortion or reproductive rights, I have read that very carefully. There are 9 amendments in the Senate and the House which have attempted to prevent taxpayer funding in that bill. Rejected. Senator Coburn, Senator Hatch, Senator Mikulski, and Representatives Pitts and Gingrich. They've all been rejected. You know what the bill does say, and I can cite the page and the number? There will be no health care until you are born. While that baby is in the mother, we don't count that as a person. I can cite the page and the number. Medicaid and CHIP will only cover, quote, at the time of birth, close quote.
I will not pay for this bill. I'm going to jail if you
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. You got the microphone.
And these, by the way, these are not talking points. These are my own. All right. And I just have one other thing. I have spent 35 years in information technology. I've read this bill very closely. You are about to concentrate more information about more Pennsylvanians and Americans in this bill in one place in the computers of Washington than has ever occurred. In fact, the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, says it gives you the right to enter using our Internal Revenue Service. And page 58 talks about entering our own accounts, because financial responsibility has to be ascertained. My final comment is this. Massachusetts has tried something like this. Tennessee has tried something like this. Why don't we take a look at what has worked and what has failed there, and maybe start it in a blue state? Give it all we've got in one state, but don't concentrate all this power in the bureaucrats and their computers in Washington. You'll be gone. By God, the bureaucrats will still be there. We don't know their names, we don't know their faces, but they'll be making our decisions for us and for my children.
Well, let me... When you raise the question as to cost, I can only repeat the commitment not to add to the deficit. When you talk about abortion, the law in the United States, it's the Hyde Amendment, that public monies cannot be used for abortions.
That's an amendment to the appropriation bill. That does not apply here. There have been 9 senatorial and House of Representatives amendments. Only Senator Casey has stood against the Democrats for non-taxpayer funded abortion. And there's a conscience problem as well.
Well, I heard you out. Let me respond to your points. The Senate bill has not yet been written. I do not believe there will be any change in the Hyde Amendment. This lady asked a question about whether people would have to pay in a health plan for somebody else's abortion, and the answer is no, for the reasons I gave her. When you talk about Massachusetts, we're studying their plan very closely. With respect to privacy, we'll do everything we can to stop people from breaking into the files. Number 11. Number 11. Number 11.
Good morning, Senator.
Morning.
My name is Joe. I'm a public school teacher.
Yes, sir.
I am looking at the Sunday Patriot News, Sunday, August 2, front page. Reading the bills requires expertise. One of my roles as a teacher and an educator is to teach my children how to think, how to read, and how to understand. And over 100 years ago, we had a gentleman who was a Republican at Gettysburg say, "We will provide the understanding government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth." The Harrisburg Patriot editor says, and they cite this H.R. 32, which in my opinion is a complete hocus pocus mumbo jumbo. Here's an article, Section 1834, A7A III, as we say in Pennsylvania Dutch land, the Social Security Act, and it goes on. Senator, since this Laurel and Hardy team has been in Washington, there hasn't been a thing written in the House, in the Senate, that we as average Pennsylvanians, average Americans, can read and understand without having a team of 10, like you claim you have, to read and understand and interpret what has done. The last bill, the cap and trade, had pencil marks in editing. Senator, if you wish to be remembered in the Congress by the American people, when you get back there, sponsor legislation that requires every House and Senate bill to be written in a junior high school level. Yes. That's what we need in America today. Yes.
I'll try. Number 12.
Yes, good morning and welcome to Lebanon, PA. I have a simple yes or no question for you today. Will you ever vote for a bill that gives non-U.S. citizens access to a taxpayer-paid free health insurance or care service?
I will not support a bill which gives health coverage to illegal immigrants.
Somebody mic you up.
Number 13. Who has 13?
Okay, good morning. President Obama and you have constantly stated that we'll be allowed to keep our current plans. But how can we keep them if they don't exist? More specifically, H.R. 3200. Why does this bill impose a payroll tax on employers who won't use the public option? More specifically, thank you. How many Americans work for these employers with payrolls that exceed $251,000? And what will happen to them when the employers drop their current coverage because they can't afford a 2 to 8% payroll penalty tax?
The tax is going to be directed only to the companies which do not have health coverage. Not going to add a tax to companies which have health care. So that as represented, if you like your current plan, you can maintain it.
They must provide the public option. What does that mean to you? I must provide it. Does that mean that I have a choice working there, Blue Cross or Blue Shield?
Well, let me say to you that I will not support a Senate bill which has that kind of a requirement. Who's got the next question?
14.
Number 14.
14. 15. 14's back there.